You are 1 hour into a movie, and you know it is terrible. So why do you force yourself to watch the rest? That feeling is not just about movies. It is the failing business project you keep pouring money into. It is the career path you hate, but feel you have invested too many years to quit. It is the relationship that is clearly over, but you have been together for so long. In all these cases, a hidden script is running in your mind, a cognitive bias that traps you in the past and sabotages your future. It is called the sunk cost fallacy, and understanding how it works is the first step to reclaiming your agency over your life. This is not a character flaw. It is a feature of human psychology, one that was systematically studied by Nobel Prize-winning psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. Their work on prospect theory in the 1970s revealed a crucial human quirk. We feel the pain of a loss about twice as powerfully as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. The term sunk cost fallacy itself was later coined by behavioral economist Richard Thaler. He defined it as the mistake of letting unrecoverable costs, the sunk costs, irrationally influence our current decisions. Because we are so averse to loss, we get tricked. When we consider quitting something, our brain does not see it as cutting future losses. It sees it as crystallizing a past loss, making it real. That feels terrible. So to avoid that pain, we irrationally decide to invest more, hoping our continued effort will retroactively justify the initial investment. This is also known as escalation of commitment. You double down on a bad hand, not because the odds have improved, but because you hate the idea of folding and admitting your first bet was a waste. You stay in the dead-end job because leaving would feel like admitting the last 5 years and that expensive degree were for nothing. You keep pouring resources into a failing project because the alternative is to accept that the initial $100,000 is gone forever. One of the most famous examples of this in history is the Concorde supersonic jet. The British and French governments knew very early on that the project would never be commercially profitable. The costs were astronomical, but they had already invested so much money and national pride that stopping felt like an unacceptable failure. So they kept going, pouring billions more into a project they knew was doomed. The initial investment acted like a psychological anchor, dragging them deeper into a financial black hole. They were trying to justify the past instead of making the best decision for the future. The Concorde was a technological marvel, but a catastrophic business decision, driven entirely by the sunk cost fallacy. So how do we break this cycle? It requires a deliberate, systematic mental shift. Here are the 3 steps. First, you have to mentally write off the past investment. The time, the money, the effort, it is gone. It is a sunk cost. It exists only in the past and has zero actual value in predicting future outcomes. The only things that matter now are the future costs and the future benefits. Second, and this is the most critical part, you need to ask one simple but powerful question. Knowing everything I know right now, if this were offered to me today for the first time, would I choose it? Would you take this job today? Would you start this relationship today? Would you invest in this project today? This question detaches you from the emotional baggage of your past investment and forces you to evaluate the opportunity based on its current and future merits alone. If the answer is no, you have your real answer. Third, for future decisions, set a tripwire. Before you start a project, a new fitness routine, or any major commitment, define your kill criteria in advance. For example, if this business is not generating X revenue by the end of Q2, I will pivot. Or, if I am still feeling this unfulfilled in this role in 6 months, I will actively start my job search. This outsources the difficult decision to your past, more rational self, before the sunk cost fallacy can cloud your judgment. Breaking free from this bias is a superpower. It gives you the freedom to quit what is not working and pivot toward what will, without being chained to the ghost of your past decisions. Subscribe for weekly wisdom combining ancient philosophy with modern psychology, practical insights for living with depth and purpose.